To understand why a single magazine caused such a massive cultural fracture, you have to look at the sanitized state of American comics in the 1970s. The entire industry was regulated by the Comics Code Authority. This censorship board effectively prohibited complex adult themes, graphic violence, and nudity from appearing on newsstands. The audience that grew up reading early superhero stories was reaching adulthood, but the media available to them was legally restricted from maturing at the same pace. This created an ignored demographic of millions. These readers wanted ambitious science fiction and fantasy, and for years, domestic publishers simply didn't provide it. In 1981, an animated feature film arrived to meet that demand with blunt force. Heavy Metal presented audiences with graphic violence, heavy eroticism, and surreal concepts, ranging from a dystopian taxi driver in a crumbling New York to reanimated zombie fighter pilots. The financial data reflects a massive hunger for this material. Heavy Metal earned $20 million at the U.S. box office, dwarfing the typical returns for independent animation in that era. This theatrical success marked a pivotal moment in a transatlantic rebellion that had been building in the underground for years. The phenomenon originated in 1970s France, where creators launched an unrestricted comic called Metal Hurlant. American publishers directly imported these stories, publishing them as an adult magazine named Heavy Metal. They bypassed the Comics Code Authority entirely. This provided a gateway to discover the work of Jean Giraud, better known as Moebius. His surreal alien landscapes provided a technical complexity that American sci-fi art rarely matched. It also featured H.R. Giger. His dark biomechanical style introduced a visceral anatomical maturity to the pages. Unregulated content invited immediate scrutiny. The magazine was frequently criticized for its highly sexualized portrayals of women and a tone that seemed designed to provoke moral outrage. Despite these controversies, the magazine proved that uncompromising, transgressive art could command a significant mainstream audience. The 1981 film adaptation preserved the magazine's chaotic energy by using a non-linear anthology structure rather than a traditional plot. The only narrative thread connecting these short stories is the Loch Nar, a glowing green orb that serves as the catalyst for the various nightmares on screen. The film's aggressive rock soundtrack drove the action, dictating the energy and identity of every scene. The producers used tracks from Black Sabbath to anchor the film's dark, heavy sonic identity. They included Journey to provide the melodic scale needed for the film's operatic space sequences. And the contribution of Blue Oyster Cult nailed the gritty, rebellious tone the film was chasing. Fusing elite European illustration with the raw energy of hard rock created a sensory experience that American audiences hadn't encountered in a cinema before. That distinct aesthetic quickly reached the highest levels of the film industry. Major creators, including George Lucas, have cited the magazine's visual concepts as a direct inspiration for their own world-building. Authors like Neil Gaiman also acknowledge the publication's unapologetic, mature tone as a foundational influence on their storytelling. That lineage continues into the current streaming era. If you watch Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots, you're seeing the direct evolution of the Heavy Metal format. The Netflix series actually began as a pitch by David Fincher and Tim Miller to officially reboot the Heavy Metal movie. While the reboot didn't move forward, the project was rebranded. The mature anthology format pioneered in the 80s remains the structural template used by modern creators for premium adult animation. This influence expanded globally, officially arriving on newsstands in Brazil by the mid-1990s. This arrival catalyzed the local scene, resulting in a dedicated Brazilian special in 1996 and the launch of Metal Passado, a publication focused on domestic talent. This gave Brazilian creators like Laudo Ferreira, Julio Shimamoto, and Cynthia Carvalho a high-profile platform for adult-oriented science fiction and fantasy. In today's landscape of infinite streaming, a printed, transgressive magazine might not hold the same power it once did. However, Heavy Metal stands as a decisive early strike against the American industry rule that fantasy and animation were exclusively for children, helping to clear the path for the adult media we take for granted today.